Until next time, cop. Better one-liner than anything in that movie. So
Why do you always do the monarch voice?
wasn't the monarch. This is the monarch voice. Totally different, you dick.
Timecop is a 1994 American science fiction action film directed by Peter Hyams, starring
Jean-Claude Van Damme, Ron Silver, will you get him? Mia Sara,
Welcome back to the Cult of Films. I'm John, the host, and I've traveled back in time and found these two hooligans. That is Jason Alt and Lindsay Washburn. It's round two. This is round two on our unofficial Van Damme series. Started with the quest, and then we didn't learn our lesson. We let Jason pick again. He picked Timecop. So, Jason, why are we talking about Timecop?
Because I couldn't convince the two of you to talk about sudden death.
And Lindsay, you wanted to talk about
Hard Target.
Yeah.
I want the double Van Damme, not the double but his double is Dennis Rodman, who
Double Rodman.
He has a passing resemblance to Jean-Claude Van Damme.
It's true.
You know how I tell them apart? If you show me a picture of Van Damme and a picture of Dennis Rodman, I'm like, oh, only Dennis Rodman has facial piercings. That's
true.
That's a handy tip. If you can't tell those guys apart in that movie, Double something.
Double Stuffed.
That's a different movie.
That is a different movie.
It's a documentary about Oreos.
So I wanted to watch Universal Soldier, but
another great one.
We've just decided to make this like an ongoing thing. So thank you, Lindsay, for joining us on the second one of these. Who wants to take the reins? What is Timecop about?
It's about a time cop.
Did it.
But like, what's RoboCop about? It's about capitalism. It's about urban decay.
Right.
It's about the corporate class using the working class as their stooges. It's an allegory for Jesus Christ. You know, it's all there right in the name RoboCop.
Right.
But Timecop, there's a little bit more going on. He's a cop in time. If you do time crimes, he will come and do the splits in your house.
With his Wolverines.
Between the lines.
It's a subtle reference to the movie Red Dawn. Did you know that?
I did not.
Or it's a kind of boot.
Right. probably more of that. Yeah, and he manages to get two of him in this movie as well. There is a lot of that's an ongoing theme also, and the difference between young Van Damme and old Van Damme is a mullet. Oh
no, that mullet made him completely unrecognizable. I don't want to spoil the plot if you haven't seen Timecop, but our review talks you into it. But there's a scene where he goes to his wife and he's aged 10 years and grown a mullet. She's like, "Who are you?" He's like, "I'm your husband. I have the exact same face and also this accent." And I'm the same height and weight as your husband.
She's so bummed too. She's like, "What happened to you?" And then they're like running for their lives, and then like 5 minutes later they catch their breath. She's like, "No, really, why do you look like that?"
You're so
ahead,
haggard looking. You're so haggard. And
I know. What happened to you? He's like, "God damn, it's been 10 years."
Right.
You got some stubble.
Oh my god.
It's me. It's Max.
I can't believe this.
To be fair, though, my wife has face blindness, so if she saw me leave the house and then saw me 3 hours later at a mall with a mullet, she'd be like, "Who the fuck is this guy? Woo! Who is it?" So, you know what? Let's give Mia Sara some credit.
That's true.
Sure. Yeah. You know what? top to bottom, I think this is. I mean, this might just. Let's go right to the hot takes. I think this might be his best acted film. He is really good in this. I
know
think
why?
Why?
Because there are a bunch of fucking character actors in this movie. Because Jean-Claude Van Damme's like, I don't want anybody attractive in the movie. And they're like, what's Bruce McGill doing? And the answer is nothing. Bruce McGill, he sleeps in packing peanuts waiting for someone to need him. I have every season of MacGyver on DVD. That is my response to do you like Bruce McGill?
Me too. He's so good.
They based the Monterey Jack character in Rescue Rangers on him, and I thought that was a thing everybody knew.
Yeah,
that was just a thing I knew growing up. I was like, oh yeah, that's where they got that.
That's Bruce McGill. It's his character.
So
from
you know how
MacGyver.
Chip and Dale on Rescue Rangers, one's like Indiana Jones and the other one's like Magnum PI. Everyone knows that, but I was like, did you know Monterey Jack? And everybody's like, I've never seen MacGyver because I'm not 40. And I'm like, all right, good call.
Ron Silver is a very attractive and brooding evil business. He does evil businessman very well. We talked about another movie before in Blue Steel. He basically plays the same character. There's just two of him in this one, and he's a little bit sweatier. 10 years later, although he gives the younger one shit because he's eating too many candy bars.
Yes.
Now, you get out of here. Will you do me a favor? Will you lay off the fucking candy bars?
Mia Sarah, I mean, we've all seen Legend. You said unattractive people. This is a good-looking, well-rounded cast.
It's Sloane. Who's hotter than a girl worth skipping school for?
Right.
You know what's funny about Ron Silver? I wonder how many people have accidentally watched The Arrival with Charlie Sheen and Ron Silver, thinking they were going to watch Arrival.
Feel where it's hot, because you like it hot, Gordy. Don't you?
Zane, if you force me to answer you, what you will be hearing is your own death sentence.
And they're like, I keep hearing so much about this The Arrival. And they're like, why is everyone's knees backwards? I don't like when their knees do that.
This one was directed by Peter Hyams. You may remember him. I've talked about Peter Hyams before on the Cult of Films when I was reviewing The Relic.
Love that movie.
Oh, I love The Relic, and
we should have watched The Relic.
I know, it's such a better film.
And done another episode on The Relic. He's great. He's okay. He's not great. He's pretty good. He did a couple other Van Damme films, and then he did a Schwarzenegger film, End of Days, which I always
Quiet boy.
You want to fuck with me? You think you know bad, huh? You're a fucking choir boy compared to me. A choir boy.
Are we not going to talk about the Mark Harmon movie he made? You're going to skip right over Sean Connery and Mark Harmon?
I guess so.
In The Presidio.
Oh shit.
I judge how good a director is by how many of their links are purple on IMDb when I bring them up for the first time. I've clicked on just about every Peter Hyams movie, all for unrelated reasons.
Is that the equivalent to only responding to check marks on Twitter?
I guess, yeah. Like, what's Chris O'Donnell up to? Oh, he's played a cop for 27 years. Neat.
Lindsay, when did you, I know you're a Van Damme.
Big time,
We've already established Jason and I's kind of like history with Van Damme in our Quest review. I don't usually try to reference other things that we've done, but go check out that for the initial, like, why do we like Van Damme? Check that out. We got that out of the way there, but we did not talk to you about Van Damme. So tell me about your Muscles from Brussels history.
Well, I was obsessed with Van Damme growing up, and I'm drawn more to his early work, Bloodsport, Kickboxer, all that kind of shit, Lionheart. So the sudden death is kind of the end of the road for me when it comes to Van Damme films. I've seen a few of his later works, but I feel they're a little, it's more the deteriorating part of his career. So I love that meat of the 80s and the early 90s Van Damme. And he's the action star. He's got big muscles, but he's also extremely charismatic on screen.
He learned how to be.
He learned how to be. He got much better at it. He's extremely charismatic, and his fighting styles and techniques are very distinct and recognizable. You're like, that's a Van Damme kick. That's a Van Damme move.
Nobody does Sabat like out of the world. There's like the dude who's doing it now, who like fought Captain America, and like that's it. He played Bartok the Leaper, and he was like he did Jackie Chan movies and shit too. Like, you know, nobody respects Sabat because they're like, they're French, they'll just surrender. He's like, I'm from Belgium, and then he karate kicks a guy. He's like, read that. He's like, I don't read French. He's like, it says Wolverine. Oh, it's upside down. Right.
His movies just blew my prepubescent mind because, you know, he's doing the splits and you always see his butt in the movies. And I was just blown away.
You never see his balls.
I don't know. There's got to be some kind of tucking thing. Because, I mean,
he's wearing like boxer shorts and he fully does the splits.
And
like,
nothing's
over
dangling.
A counter. There's nothing underneath.
There's no dangle.
Everything is taut. Yeah, no Brussels sprouts. But I mean, you really get close to staring down the pike. There is a love scene in here. Oh man, this like watching this love scene just cracked me up because all of the love scenes from the late 80s and early 90s were the same. It just looks like these people are hugging and getting a massage. Yeah. It's just like these people had no idea what sex looked like in actuality, and it was always so funny because it never I bet that's a choice like for rating purposes because they're like, we have to have a sex scene because you know, dads and soccer moms, but we're just gonna make them cuddle and we might show, you know, a butt crack and an areola, but you know that counts.
You don't know what you're talking about because you've never seen 1981's Body Heat. There wasn't a dry seat in the house.
Yeah,
that's a movie.
The late William Hurt. R.I.P.
Kathleen Turner. Lots of sweat and smoking.
Yeah.
So don't you dare pretend no one knew how to do fucking on screen in the 80s. They did it exactly 2 times, 9.5 weeks and Body Heat. Other than that, yeah, you're right. And I thought I just didn't like sex scenes in 90s movies because I was always watching with my parents because I like
that can be awkward.
Couldn't drive to Blockbuster myself.
Sure.
There's a little bit of a lack of passion, you know.
A little bit.
It's more artistic, it's more loving, it's supposed to be more romantic, especially in this kind of movie. You're like, oh, they're married and they're in love and blah 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 blah. So
you're not allowed to bang your wife in a movie. You can make love to your wife on camera, but there's no.
Yeah. If you don't have like natural chemistry with Mia Sara, it was probably the easiest person to have on-screen chemistry with. And he did. There was some chemistry there, as much as he could. He is just a wooden man.
I didn't think she was great in that sex scene either. I was like, do you really want to bring her back?
Oh yeah, you're dead. Bye. Yeah.
You went back to 1994. That's the year you met Kylie Minogue on the set of Street Fighter. Are you
Very
really going to
true.
go back to your wife?
Right.
She gave you the out. Jesus Christ. So what? How about when we saw this film? Did anyone see this in the theater?
Yes.
Oh my God. Tell me about that.
7, so no.
I saw it in the theater. I think I might have gone with a friend or something. What was this rated? Was this rated R?
This was rated R. Yeah,
For what?
Lots of F-bombs. There was boobs.
That's true.
Oh,
there was boobs.
There was
a little bit of blood. There wasn't a lot of blood, but there was a little.
Honestly, I don't need blood.
Yeah. I mean, when he smashed his friend's face in the car door, there's a little trickle.
Lawrence, I love you. I really do. But don't tell me what I can't do.
It counts.
I like how he got a cut on his face so bad it left a permanent scar. It was like, ooh. He dabbed it with a napkin and it was fine. He should have looked like Steve Buscemi in Fargo, is what I'm saying.
It should have fucked him up a little bit.
Right?
More.
A little bit.
And I mean, it's a cool thing to show in the movie. Oh, he just got kicked, and now his older version has developed a scar. It's it's like a storytelling thing. But yeah, he should have been a little.
I did like the graphics on anything time related. It's like, all right, this is gonna look a little like the Money for Nothing video.
Yep.
30 years later now.
It looked Matrixy, right? Like it had the little ripple effect, and it worked just fine.
Hey, you want to be sad? This movie came out closer to The Matrix than this year by about 20 years.
Jesus Christ. So old.
This came out
very close to The Matrix.
Yeah, it did. Like 5 years.
Yeah, I was actually 10 when this came out, and this was a blockbuster type deal. I bet I had friends over, and my parents were like, this is rated R, but it sucks. They did that a lot. They would watch it first. They're like, you can probably handle RoboCop 2.
Right. Well,
because I was 8 and I was homesick from school.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, speaking of the visual effects, I mean, some of them are okay for the time, but I mean, this came out the same fucking year as Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
That made
Everyone was busy
dinosaurs
making a
live,
movie.
You know?
Jurassic Park did a ton of practical effects, and
That's true.
the time shuttle in this movie looked pretty good, but like when it got all, you know what? Honestly, for '94, the like having reality like ripple, and not just overly a graphic on top of that, they actually messed with how the background looked. For '94.
It was pretty good. But I mean, then you look at like when they're in the chip manufacturing warehouse and the guy gets his arm frozen and knocked off. It's like 2 years before we had T2 do the same thing and do it 100 times better.
Sure. Yeah.
So I mean, they relied a little too heavily on some digital things like that scene, and then you know when Ron Silver blobs into
himself.
High fives himself to the face. That could have been done like a cool The Thing practical type of way, possibly, but it just looks like the end of Blade with the blood tornado.
It seemed like Peter Hyams was just over making the movie by the end of it, right? It's just like it starts out pretty strong. It's not the dumbest.
I love the opening stinger. I think it's
with the house explode and all that.
No, where they go back to do the robbery. They're robbing the Confederate gold transfer thing. That was cool because you have no idea what to expect.
Would you please give me the gold?
You have seen nothing of the future yet. You're just stuck back in this time with this date and this guy, and then all of a sudden he pulls out these giant futuristic machine guns. That was fucking cool.
There was a 10-year period where they put a laser pointer on everything to make it look like a futuristic gun. You remember Stallone and Cobra?
Oh my god!
Right.
That giant fucking laser on it.
Because it was 100% battery technology sucked back then. He's like got like a backpack with a battery just to have like a little.
These were futuristic because they sounded futuristic.
They did.
Which was cool, which also kind of broke its own rules because they're like, we can never go in the future. But then all the weaponry and shit is like totally futuristic, and the weird car.
This movie is a lesson in paradox. There's so many things. It's like, well, it's a snake eating its own head. Everything just wraps into itself and is a self-fulfilling thing. And if you think about it too much, you're like, none of this fucking makes sense.
I love the exposition when it talked down to the audience. That was great. It's like, time travel is possible. You can go to the past. You can't go in the future because the future hasn't happened yet, you fucking idiot.
Yeah.
At the exposition briefing that they do.
Yeah. It's like everybody knows that if time travel were theoretically possible, you could only go to the past, you moron.
But was it the dumbest movie that featured like time travel? I don't think so.
No.
Like it set up really basic rules for the audience to follow along, and it broke it sometimes, but for the most part it didn't try. Like some of those movies just get lost in its own bullshit so hard, and you're just like, this is just awful. This guy did better with time travel than Michael Bay did with mini magnets in fucking 48 hours or whatever it was called. Was
that Ryan Reynolds movie? I only
48.
I have never walked out of a movie, but I have walked out of my kitchen. I was watching that movie while I washed the dishes on my 4-inch Google screen, and I still left. I let the movie play so it wouldn't show up in my, hey, finish watching this queue.
Yeah.
What movie was this?
That Michael Bay 4872, whatever that.
Their Hitman.
Dave Franco, Ryan Reynolds thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
6 Underground. What? Yeah, what do you, it was called 6 Underground.
Yeah.
What was it?
Where'd you get 48 hours? That was, it was another 48 hours. You know,
just
the Ryan Reynolds movie.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that was the only other movie that I.
Why did I let you make me sound stupid, John?
And it was so easy. Guess who produced this? Sam Raimi.
Yes.
This is technically a comic book movie. This was like a Dark Horse.
Okay, so I want to. I don't always talk about my beer, but I have a Dark Horse Brewing Company.
Nice.
Quantum Leap. So it's not exactly Timecop. It's a pun on Quantum Leap. But this is a quad IPA, and it's been cellaring for 5 years. This is probably 15% right now. And,
Jesus Christ.
It's very good. How cool is it that I had a beer that's from Dark Horse and is time travel themed?
See,
what?
That was
don't tell me Quantum Leap wasn't time travel themed.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
If you travel through space, you automatically travel through time. Everybody knows that. You can't go forward. The future hasn't happened yet, but you could go parallel.
Like how he's like, he stole the balloons. You don't think this is gonna make money? Like, I don't know. That line always cracked me up.
So silly. There's some interesting little almost Verhoeven-esque world building if you listen carefully to some of the news reports talking about the election and stuff. They talk about different parties and stuff, like the white supremacist party, and then the pro-life and pro-death people, and there's little things sprinkled in there that are kind of funny that are all in the background. I wish they would have brought some of that to the forefront.
They accidentally like proclaimed the future or projected the future.
Oh my!
Right?
I love any movie where it's like 10 years in the future,
Right?
cars will look like this, and they're just driving around in these
like tanks. Oh my god!
Like, do you remember what cars looked like in 2004? Like, people were still driving around 1994 Toyota Tercels in 2004. Like, the cars were 100% the same.
They were driving that one that's in the mall.
The 1994
Nissan.
Yeah.
They really made, like, I wonder how much Nissan paid, because that is featured quite a bit.
Quite heavily. And I love that mall scene because it's very 90s. We get the rollerblading person,
The guy on
which is
rollerblading
so
criminal at the
90s.
mall.
It's so 90s. I love it.
We predicted in the future cars will be white boxes like they were designed by Elon Musk, and all crimes will be rollerblade based.
And they're 4 times as large on the inside than they are on the outside. That thing is like a tiny Lamborghini on the outside, and he gets in, it's like a whole room, and he's got like peanuts and shit, and it's like a whole limo. I'm like, wait, where is all this shit?
So here's how I would have written Timecop. He's like, I gotta go meet my wife at the mall, and a guy in 2004 is like, what's a mall? Thank you, that is my movie.
That works.
It's like, it's a thing we only needed for 20 years, and people invested trillions in them.
Right. And another thing that really sticks out, because I hadn't revisited this movie in a while. Like I said, I really love the early Van Damme stuff. That's my gravy right there. But the dialogue when they're at the first scene in the mall, when you first see 1994 Van Damme meet his wife, just the dialogue is so centered on time.
There's never enough time.
Never enough for what?
To satisfy a woman.
So ham-handedly done. It's like, okay, we get it. It's called Timecop. This is about time. There's never enough time. There's never enough time to satisfy a woman. Blah, blah, blah. We get it.
Not enough time for her to say that she's pregnant.
Yeah.
Are they going to tell us what year it is so we know?
Right?
You guys give this a lot of shit, but this was on a $27 million budget. It made $101 million back.
It's a fun movie. It's got forward progression. There's no downtime. It moves. There's good action sequences. There's good fight scenes. There's a great villain. It's a fun movie to watch. Is it like cinematic excellence? No.
What is cinematic excellence? A boring movie.
Yes.
The Lighthouse is cinematic
This
excellence.
is no The English Patient. So.
No. But I mean, you look at it through a different set of, factors when you're grading it. You're not going to compare this to other things. It's a fun action movie. It's got great sci-fi elements to it. It's got amazing character actors, and Van Damme is dialed back more than he is in his other stuff where he's full damn, you know what I mean?
Full damn.
Van Damme.
But he's still charismatic and fun to watch.
Yeah.
So
they gave him more acting to do in this and less kick punching to do. I mean, there's plenty of kick punching. Like, let's not fake the fun.
You shouldn't give Jean-Claude Van Damme acting to do, though.
But I think he did okay in this. But maybe it's like you just mentally put that up against his other roles, and you're like, oh, good job. You like kind of mentally pat him on the head. Like, I think he was okay. Like,
acting's not that hard, John.
Oh, here we go.
Doing the splits between two moving semi-tractor trailers is hard.
That's hard.
Acting is not hard. It's like, what's my motivation in this scene? You're a time cop. Someone did a time crime.
Made your wife go boom. Yeah.
And then you got to do the splits now. Okay, thanks, Coach.
Yeah.
Call me Peter.
It is fun. It is a fun film. It is a fun one to go back to because I feel like it holds up better than a lot of his other films.
Oh yeah.
Unless well, to certain audiences, there is so much more fun to be had in like the bad movie ones, you know?
Yeah.
But you go back for those for a different reason. You put those on at a party and everyone gets shit faced and we all laugh. But this is just like a fun, and this is why I think that, it made a ton of money, but the critics hated it because it was taken as seriously as the other action films and everything else that was coming out at the time. So that's why, you know, Siskel and Ebert and Moulton and all them, they were shitting on this film because they're like, well, it's no, you know, Die Hard and no blah, blah, blah. It's like, well, it's a fucking movie about a cop that goes through time.
Right. Well, this is very much an 80s action script. It's got those sensibilities to it, like an 80s sci-fi B movie, but it just has a good budget and some talent behind the camera in front of it. And so it can kind of be placed in that category, like, oh, it's just stupid fucking Timecop, whatever. But it's so much fun to watch. Like, I hadn't watched this thing in 10 years and I was having a ball today watching it. Like, oh fuck, I forgot that part. I forgot this part. Oh, the fucking bad guys, the toughs that they send back to kill him and their big metal boots and their fucking mullet mohawk.
They send back Rufus from Bill and Ted's.
Yes.
Yeah, those guys are late to go play an extra Dothraki in season 5 of Game of Thrones.
Yeah, there is like definitely those spliced in little moments of just wackiness where his friend literally jumps out a window, and then the 1929 cops is like, oh, that was a close one or whatever, and then he gets like booted, like teleported back and he dies. Oh, what a shame. Maybe tomorrow was a better day. I don't know, like, what the fuck? It's just, not that this guy, you know, just completely manifested out of thin air and then fell on his cop car, on his patrol car. But he's like, oh, I feel bad for the man.
Poor bastard. Tomorrow might have been a brighter day.
It does have those moments of just like bad movie brilliance.
Don't pretend there wasn't a ton of dumb shit in this movie.
Every
song being time related, Jesus.
Oh yeah.
We get it. It's a movie about. You didn't see Nick of Time starring Christopher Walken and be like, oh, hang on, I gotta stand here and tap my foot to Chicago's. Does anybody know what time it is? Like. They didn't have to beat us over the head with it, but he's like, people need to know this is a time-based movie. Time Won't Let Me is going to play over and what an action film ending song. Time Won't Let Me. You did it. You hit Control F and typed in time on your 1994 Windows 94 computer. And you found all the songs with time in the name.
Well, and it's also got some great. I mean, the one-liners in this movie are shit compared to other action movies. They're not great. They're like, "Have a nice day," and that's gotta hurt. They're not punny like they should be.
When did they stop doing that? I feel like they just stopped doing that at one point. Like Van Damme never did it that much. It was mostly a Schwarzenegger thing, and like after the first 3 years, it was just him making fun of the fact that he thought it was cool when he did it in Commando.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Van Damme's got some. Universal Soldier has several. Some of his other movies do too here and there, but that's not his thing. That's Arnold's thing, really.
Yeah.
But this one, there were one-liners, but they just sucked.
I went 10 rounds with John L. Sullivan himself.
I saw Tyson beat Spinks on TV.
They had nothing to do with the kill. They didn't have a pun. It was just not fun.
Those are the rules. Yeah. It has to be a pun, and it has to be a pun off how you killed them.
Yes. Yeah. I'm just like, this sucks. They could have had so much better one-liners, and that would have added to the fun.
It was a little more dour than I remembered too. Like, there's like usual characters that are off limits, and then they die or whatever. And you're just like, oh shit, like this is a little darker than I remember, because I just remember it just being a schlock fest, and it was half that, but it was half like they really tried to make it like a.
They took themselves pretty seriously.
Yeah. They probably took themselves as seriously as like the Wachowskis did making The Matrix. Like they're like, we have something here. We're gonna turn this into something. And
have you guys heard the taglines from this movie?
No. What are they?
Tagline number 1: turn back the clock in your history. What does that mean? That tells you nothing about the movie. And they're like, hey, people don't know anything about the movie based on the tagline. And the guy's like, all right, I got this. Tagline 2: they killed his wife 10 years ago. There's still time to save her. Murder is forever. ... Until now.
Or is it?
They murdered his wife, but he goes back in time and saves her. Come find out what else happens.
I don't know. Now that we're doing these Jean-Claude Van Damme films, I feel like we should do something special for this little mini series. So if we were to, so The Quest right now is the de facto #1 on the Van Damme list. So now Timecop is here. So does Timecop unseat The Quest as the most enjoyable Van Damme movie?
No.
Oh, Lindsay gets a vote.
I don't know. It's been so long since I've seen The Quest. I only watched it once, so I can't have a say really. I like this one a lot. It's not in my top 5 or maybe even top 7 Van Damme movies.
Okay.
So
I have a controversial favorite one.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to tell you that for free. You got to wait.
We're going to see. Yeah. I'm actually going to side with Jason on this one because I think that The Quest I like for the worst reasons because it's such a black tank top vanity wank fest of his because he directed it and he was just so fucking high and he was just so crazy. And that movie is fucking crazy. I think it's
said it was Grown Ups. It was just him taking a bunch of his friends to an island with a giant baggie of cocaine and being like, oh shit, I put a James Bond in this movie?
I don't remember
and he's
that.
so mad at me because I'm never on set when it's time to start shooting.
Yeah. This got, like, people showed up because maybe Sam Raimi was involved and he's like, hey, you want to show up to work on time? You got a little, so
little something in there.
I would have to say that The Quest maintains the #1 spot. Timecop is right underneath. So we will see if or anything will ever unseat The Quest. I have a good
Why are we doing a Van Damme tournament I didn't know about?
Well, because it's Van Damme.
You have to explain that a little better.
It's the fucking Kumite, man.
Yeah.
People
no holds barred to the death.
Van Damme.
The Quest was like a Disney Kumite. It was like
with
the
less
Street
cocaine.
He did Street Fighter and then he did Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
But I have the ending of this movie left me with so many questions because when he gets back, he's not like, there's a 10-year gap for him. He has no idea what has happened in the last 10 years. So he goes home and he has a 10-year-old child and his wife. And it's like, he doesn't remember the birth of his child or the first fucking 10 years of this child's life.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah.
There's just nothing there. And you think she would remember that the older version came back and helped save her, and that so she would know that he would have this 10-year gap and be like, okay, I'll fit like 50 first dates, show you a VHS of like the past 10 years of our lives.
It's more like another Adam Sandler movie, like Click, though, because he was like in autopilot because he wasn't there mentally because his essence was in his matter.
Something. You think he would butterfly effect like Ashton Kutcher, like he'd have this aneurysm in his brain and all of a sudden he would remember everything, but no.
You would think.
Like, how would you deal with that?
That's actually like a horror movie. It
is.
Right. For the... For saving the world from a time criminal who is using a time machine to become president. A lot of parallels to Donald Trump there that we won't get into. For saving the world from that guy, we give you missing the best 10 years of your kid's life. You did it.
Yep. But he was there. He was there for those 10 years, but he can't remember it.
So you would think he would come back with the memories, right?
Something. But there's nothing. He doesn't know anything.
How would he come back with the memories?
And Bruce McGill is like, we were friends?
Yeah.
It's like, what the fuck happened for these 10 years? What happened?
Don't I work here?
Yeah.
How did me saving my wife? I guess because he was just a sad sack.
So he's just
That's
the whole time.
He's like, come over to our house so you don't go to your empty apartment and cry.
Yeah. Watch old home videos.
Huge apartment, by the way. How much are they paying time cops?
It's gotta be a pretty good price.
Seems like a lot.
As however much they were playing.
Pay?
Yeah, they were paying Decker because it was like the same set, basically.
Do you think he got insurance money from his house exploding, and then he got his time cop salary? Which you got to pay time cops well. If you're underpaying your time cops and they're not complaining about it, they're definitely coming back from the past with some shit.
Oh yeah.
As they did. I mean, who's paying the Space Force people in our government now? So,
nobody.
Exactly. Constantly, the Ron Silver guy was just like, we got to shut this down. It's not making money.
Space Force are taking stuff from work home for sure, right?
Definitely. Definitely.
It's like my check bounced, but I got this sweet folded up t-shirt full of coffee creamers from the break room. So
we get 2 splits in this movie. Usually there's only one split.
You guys keep saying that. Why can I only remember the one in his kitchen?
There was the other one where he like punched a dude.
Yeah, he does the splits and like punches the dude like in his nuts or something.
Yeah.
Is that in the 40-minute fight scene at the end in the dark? How could
it's in the 1920s.
Really? Oh
yeah.
No, I remember the wall run
when he fights the 2 dudes in the office.
That was pretty funny though. He's like, I went 10 rounds with so and so, and he's like, I saw what's his face beat this guy on TV.
Yeah. Didn't you want that to be Maxie whatever from the Quest?
Absolutely, because anybody who puts their fists up like this is just easily defeated by an outside leg kick. They're like, I wasn't prepared for this.
And then he got up and he gave him his belt.
I'm fighting against Guile. I shouldn't have picked Balrog.
In the past, present, or future, where can everyone find us? Let's start with Lindsay.
You can find me on Twitter at the Lindsay Washburn, or you can find me on YouTube on my channel. That's just my name, Lindsay Washburn, where I talk about movies, bad movies, good movies, old movies, cult movies, and VHS tapes.
All right. Jason Van Alt.
You can find me at Jason E. Alt on Twitter, and I have a link tree. So I don't have to go into it because you can just like browse around it and be like, none of this is what I'm interested in. So. Gotcha. Thanks for clicking on my links, dummy.
Got him. Any interaction is interaction. I am John. You can find me at John the Host on Twitter. You could also follow this very podcast on Twitter at The Cult of Films. You can listen to this in podcast form. Rate us on iTunes, all that stuff. Until next time.
Yeah, just send it on until next time.
There you go. Until next time. Yeah.
Cop.